In this text, Paul takes us behind the scenes and turns our attention away from our personal experience and away from our first impressions of that experience, and directs our attention to God and directs our attention to eternity past. Directs our attention to eternity past. He directs our attention to divine election. He directs our attention to sovereign grace. Inspired by the Spirit, Paul wants all first impressions to be informed and indeed transformed by this biblical, eternal perspective. This here, verse 4, is really the most succinct description of your conversion, my conversion. Sovereign grace. Now, from my vantage point, there is a delightful diversity of background and race and culture and testimony represented here this evening. But as Christians, we all have this in common. There is to be no diversity of explanations concerning our conversion. The origin of your conversion, the explanation for every conversion present here or throughout church history is sovereign grace. Sovereign grace. Now, let me just acknowledge from the outset that we are swimming around tonight in the deep end of the theological pool. And there is no standing up. There is no standing up in this end of the pool. I am in way over my head tonight. You are in way over your head tonight. We're in the deep end. At the mere mention of this topic, any introduction to this topic, we immediately bump into mystery. Immediately. Sovereign grace, divine election, divine selection. You bump immediately into mystery. Immediately, questions arise from many, if not most. How do I reconcile divine sovereignty with human responsibility? How do I reconcile divine sovereignty with human responsibility? See, when you teach on election, the topic understandably provokes not a few, but many questions. Not a few, but many difficult questions. Now, I want you to be informed. I want you to be aware from the outset. I will not be able to eliminate an element of mystery from this topic this evening. I will not be able to perform that kind of magic for you this evening. And I trust that no one present here expects me to resolve all your questions about the apparent contradiction between divine sovereignty and human responsibility. The smartest minds in church history have been unable to do so, and before you stands a mere high school graduate, and even that should be investigated. I am, as a pastor, often asked theological questions where the only appropriate reply is, I don't have a clue. I find myself regularly saying, I don't know. I would submit to you, Chad hears me say, I don't know so often, particularly in response to his theological questions, that I think Chad thinks to himself, my dad doesn't know much. I think deep in his heart, Chad thinks, you know what? If everything else doesn't work out, there's a future for me in pastoring. And I know this can be frustrating for church members. I am very aware of that. Church members sincerely ask questions with an expectation that we will provide them answers. And at times they can understandably become frustrated when I respond and say, I don't know. I'm sure they wonder, how do you get away with that? Okay? Because are you aware nobody else gets away with that? All right? I mean, if you said to your car mechanic, why isn't my car starting? He said, I don't know. It's a mystery, okay? You're not buying into that. He is immediately no longer your car mechanic. Okay? If you go to a doctor and you're in pain and you say, why am I in pain? He says, I don't know. I don't know why you're in pain. Well, that's unacceptable. He's supposed to know. You come with expectations, he will know. He must know. If he doesn't know, you will find another doctor. I'm so glad God's people do not relate to pastors in a similar way. Because all too often, I simply don't know. Listen, get comfortable with hearing your pastor say, I don't know, and get comfortable with mystery. Get comfortable with mystery. You will always be bumping into mystery in relating to God.